Hey everyone, so you're thinking about hiring a VMware vSphere expert.
Yeah,
Pretty big decision, huh?
it can be.
Well, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the inside track on how to hire one of these, virtualization wizards, and we'll do it all in like under 9 minutes. It's going to
Wow.
be your crash course on everything vSphere. We'll cover what they actually do, what kind of skills to look for.
Okay.
But hold on, before we get into all that, if you really want to make sure you find the best possible people and the best resources for your specific project, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and check out their 5 questions tool. You see, it's amazing.
It's a game changer.
I know, right? Go ahead and do that now. We'll wait.
Great.
All right, back already.
Great.
Now, to help us figure out this whole vSphere expertise thing, I've got a real virtualization guru with me today.
Happy to be here.
So tell me, what's the biggest thing people get wrong about these experts? Like, what's the biggest misconception?
I'd say the biggest misconception is that they're just software developers. And while they definitely need, technical skills, their role is way bigger than that.
Okay.
They're more like the architects and system administrators of your entire virtual world.
Wow.
They handle everything from infrastructure setup and security to troubleshooting and making sure everything runs smoothly. Performance optimization, we call it.
Gotcha. So they're not just coding all day long. They're like managing this whole complex virtual world, right?
Exactly.
For those of us who don't speak virtualization fluently,
Yeah.
can you break that down a bit? Like, give us some real world examples of the stuff a vSphere expert has to deal with.
Sure. Imagine you've got an e-commerce site and suddenly there's this massive spike in traffic.
Okay, yeah.
A good vSphere expert would be able to quickly figure out where the bottleneck is.
Okay.
Maybe it's a misconfigured load balancer or a problem with the storage.
I see.
And then they'd implement a solution to make sure your site stays up and running so customers can keep shopping.
That's critical.
Right. Or let's say you're moving your entire infrastructure to the cloud. Yeah.
That's a huge project. Your vSphere expert would be the one in charge of making that happen, ensuring everything goes smoothly and minimizing downtime.
Wow, so they're dealing with some seriously important stuff.
Absolute.
No wonder these folks are in such high demand. So let's talk about those in-demand skills. When someone says they're a, quote, VMware vSphere expert, what are the absolute must-have qualifications you're looking for?
Well, VMware certifications are definitely at the top of the list.
Okay, makes sense.
The VCP, which stands for VMware Certified Professional, is a great starting point.
Okay.
It shows they have a solid grasp of the basic vSphere concepts and how to administer them.
So that's like the baseline, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But if you have a more complex environment, you'll probably want someone with a VCR.
VCCAP.
That's VMware Certified Advanced Professional.
Ah, okay.
This certification goes deeper, it proves expertise in specific areas like data center virtualization, cloud management, or automation. So certifications are a big deal.
Okay.
But besides those credentials, what else makes a vSphere expert stand out? Like, what sets the really good ones apart?
You really need to look for hands-on experience. You
Yeah.
want someone who's actually built and managed vSphere environments, not just read about it in a book.
Yeah, I get it. Real-world experience.
Exactly. Look for experience with key VMware products like ESS, vCenter Server, and NSX. That's for networking and security.
Got it.
Oh, and here's a pro tip. Scripting skills are becoming super valuable in this field.
Really?
Yeah, if a candidate knows PowerCLI or Python,
Mm.
they can automate tasks and manage your virtual infrastructure more efficiently.
So certifications, hands-on experience, and scripting skills. Check, check, check.
Right.
Okay, but here's the big question everyone wants to know. What's the salary range for these experts? I'm guessing it's not cheap?
You're right, it's not.
No.
Salaries vary a lot depending on location, experience, and certifications. But generally speaking, you're looking at something between $90,000 to $150,000 per year in the US. And those high-demand tech hubs like San Francisco or New York, it can easily go even higher than that.
Yeah, bet.
And don't forget, specialized skills like cloud migration or automation can command a hefty premium.
Okay, so hiring a vSphere expert is a serious investment.
It is an investment.
But like you said, they're responsible for some really critical stuff.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is the age-old question. Full-time hire, part-time, in-house, or outsource? There are so many options.
Yeah.
How do you even begin to choose the best model?
That's where things can get a little tricky.
Yeah.
The best approach really depends on your specific project, budget, and how much control you need. Full-time offers stability and deep integration, but comes at a higher cost. Part-time can be more flexible, but you might not get the same level of commitment. In-house gives you more control, while outsourcing can open you up to a global talent pool, but it can be tough to manage.
So many factors to juggle.
It can be overwhelming.
It can be a bit
But
overwhelming.
don't worry.
Yeah.
ThePerfectDeveloper.com has got you covered.
They do.
Their 5 questions tool helps you figure all this out. It takes into account your specific needs and points you toward the best hiring strategy.
Nice.
Trust me, it's worth checking out.
You've been singing their praises this whole time.
Well, they're great.
Okay, I'm starting to see why. So we've talked about what vSphere experts actually do, the essential skills they need, what they can expect to make, and even touched on the different hiring models. What else do we need to know to make a smart hiring decision?
Let's talk about the actual hiring process.
Okay,
You want to attract the best candidates, right?
of course.
Well, creating a clear and compelling job description is super important. Absolutely. You need to really highlight what makes your company and this particular role stand out.
Okay.
Don't just list a bunch of technical requirements,
Yeah.
Talk about the exciting projects your team's working on, the cool technologies you're using, chances for growth and development.
So like sell the sizzle, not just the steak.
Exactly. Think of it as your chance to pitch your company to the best vSphere talent out there.
Love it. Okay, but let's be real for a sec. These are technical roles. How do you actually figure out if someone really knows their stuff when it comes to vSphere?
Resumes and certifications are a good starting point.
Sure.
But to really assess their skills, you need to go beyond that.
Okay, how?
I always recommend including practical exercises or coding challenges in your interviews.
Oh, interesting.
Can they actually troubleshoot a simulated network problem?
Makes sense.
Can they write a script to automate a common vSphere task? Those are the kinds of things that really show you what they can do.
So you want to see them in action, not just hear them talk about it.
Exactly.
Are there any other, red flags to look out for during the interview?
Pay attention to how they communicate.
Okay.
Can they explain complex technical stuff in a way that's easy to understand?
Yeah, that's important.
Do they ask good questions, questions that show they're really curious and engaged? Remember, your vSphere expert will often need to work with other teams and people in the company, so being able to communicate well is super important.
So technical skills are a must, but so are those, soft skills.
Exactly.
It's all about finding someone who's well-rounded, someone who can really excel on both the technical and the people side of things.
Absolutely.
Any final pearls of wisdom for our listeners out there who are, about to embark on this vSphere hiring adventure?
Don't be afraid to use the resources that are out there.
Like what?
Websites like theperfectdeveloper.com can be incredibly helpful in narrowing down your search, identifying the right talent pools, and ultimately helping you make the right hiring decision.
Gotcha.
And remember, hiring the right vSphere expert is a big investment in the stability, security, and scalability of your whole IT infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it's really worth taking the time to do it right.
That's some solid advice. We've covered a lot in this deep dive. Essential skills, certifications, the hiring process, even how to make your company attractive to top talent. But there's one piece of the puzzle we haven't really explored yet, and that's the whole world of vSphere itself.
Right.
It's constantly changing, right? What are some of the hot new trends and technologies that are shaping the future of this field?
That's a great question. The world of vSphere is always evolving, and it's important for any expert to stay ahead of the curve.
Definitely.
One major trend we're seeing is the convergence of vSphere with cloud-native technologies like Kubernetes.
Kubernetes.
As more and more companies move toward things like containerization and microservices, vSphere is having to adapt.
Okay.
It's got to provide the underlying infrastructure and management for these new, modern application architectures.
So it's not just about managing those traditional virtual machines anymore.
Nope. It's about supporting these new cloud-native workloads, too.
I see.
Another big trend is the growing focus on automation and infrastructure as code. Tools like PowerCLI and VMware's vRealize automation suite are letting vSphere experts automate those complicated tasks, provision resources when they're needed, and just manage their environments more efficiently.
Okay.
This shift toward automation is not only making things more efficient, but it's also reducing human error and making systems more reliable overall.
So a good vSphere expert needs to be comfortable with these automation tools and concepts.
For sure.
What about security? It seems like cyber threats are getting more and more sophisticated every day. How's that impacting the world of vSphere?
Security is more important than ever. in the vSphere world.
Hmm.
We're seeing a big emphasis on microsegmentation.
Microsegmentation, what's that?
It basically lets you isolate individual workloads within your virtual environment, which limits the damage if there's a security breach.
So it's like building little virtual firewalls within your infrastructure to contain any potential threats.
Exactly. And vSphere experts are also increasingly responsible for setting up and managing security tools like intrusion detection systems, anti-malware software, and all those fancy threat protection solutions.
Wow, it sounds like the role of a vSphere expert is becoming more demanding and like multifaceted than ever before.
It definitely is. And that's why finding and hiring the right people is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
These experts aren't just managing your virtual stuff, they're playing a key role in keeping your data safe, making sure your applications are always up and running, and ultimately helping your whole business succeed.
Okay, that's a powerful statement. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but before we wrap up, I want to circle back to theperfectdeveloper.com. You've mentioned them a few times, and I'm really curious, what makes them stand out as a resource for hiring developers, especially those specializing in vSphere?
What I really like about theperfectdeveloper.com is their tailored approach to matching developers with companies.
Right.
Go beyond just sending you resumes. Their 5 questions tool really dives deep into the specifics of your project, your company culture, your technical needs, and even your budget.
Wow.
This helps them identify the perfect hiring platforms, talent pools, or even specific candidates for you.
So they're not just another job board. They're more like a personalized matchmaker for developers.
Precisely. And in a specialized field like BC Fear, that kind of personalized approach can make all the difference. They understand this tech inside and out.
Yeah.
They know the specific skills and certifications that matter most, and they know how tough it can be to find the right people in such a competitive market.
Sounds like they're taking all the guesswork out of it.
They really are.
I'm definitely going to check them out. All right, so we've covered a ton today. The evolving role of a VCR expert, those must-have skills, how to actually hire them, and even what the future holds for this whole field. But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something they can actually do. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're ready to jump in and start building your own vSphere dream team, where do you even begin?
My advice: don't wait. Seriously, the demand for these experts is only going to go up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So start exploring your options now.
Okay.
Go to theperfectdeveloper.com, try out that 5 questions tool, and see how they can help you navigate this whole hiring thing. Whether you're looking for someone full-time, a contractor, or even just some advice on where to find the best people, they've got the resources to help.
That's a great call to action. And I think it really sums up what we've talked about today. Finding the right vSphere expert is an investment.
It really is.
It's about making sure your IT infrastructure is stable, secure, and can grow as your business grows. It's about embracing those new technologies and staying ahead of the game. So don't just settle for good enough. Find those experts who can help you build a virtual environment that's top-notch, world-class. That's all for our mini deep dive into hiring VMware vSphere experts. Hopefully, you found it helpful. Until next time, happy virtualizing.